What's going on, guys? SB here. We are not going to run an intro. As we transition into the year 2026 soon, you guys will start to see me express more of my personal thoughts, opinions, and taste towards different fragrances and fragrance concepts into the community. And so I was somewhere in my discovery today with fragrances, had an epiphany and something on my mind that I wanted to share with you guys. So I'll rarely run intros with this type of content. It is basically a flash in the pan, quick thought dialogue, and then we will close out. And I'll try to find a way to signal visually that that type of content is going to be discussed as opposed to a straight up review. Or maybe we'll have a different intro for this type of thing. Anyways, this isn't going to be that deep. I'm going to try to run it past the 8 minutes for my monetization, if you know what I'm saying. But it's for just some thinking, some thoughts. I was just putting my nose on, where is it? It was Bleu de Chanel Eau de Toilette. Here we go. Good old Bleu de Chanel Eau de Toilette. Now, just want to share some thoughts with you guys. Now, we mostly hear about the EDP, the Parfum, and the Exclusif, which was just released now in 2025. And I wanted to shed some light on the Eau de Toilette because I noticed something interesting. Obviously, it's the lightest of the bunch, right? Maybe even the crispiest of the bunch in terms of the light, airy breathness of this staple, classic masterclass blue. But I noticed a couple of things that I was quite drawn to it that I feel the other renditions don't quite capture. I feel that this is the least blue of the four due to its lightness. And because of that, the aquatic nature of it, the citruses don't seem to roar out of it like in the other renditions, which almost takes it out of blue territory a little bit and leans it just into aquatic, more in the water droplet space, as opposed to blue ocean, citrus, forest type of feel. And I actually think that in 2025, that could be an advantage to you guys. Now, there may be a lack of performance as well, but judging by the reviews and even my wearing experience, you still get plenty of moderate performance. This fragrance simply projects less, but because of that, it has quite a significant, subtle ninja-like sillage that still remains, and the longevity seems to at least stay around the 6-hour point. But let me explain this in terms of the scent profile. I want to read to you guys a review that a guy gave to this fragrance. Check this out. This was just written yesterday. It said, maybe 15 years ago this was a banger, but today I can't really justify buying it. I'm usually against calling fragrances outdated. I just don't believe scents have, just like I don't believe scents have a gender, but Bleu de Chanel is one of the rare exceptions. If you search generic blue fragrance, Bleu de Chanel is almost always the number one result, and if not, then one of its marketing-driven flankers will be. The main issue is that this scent created the modern blue fragrance trend. And so now everything else is basically inspired by it. And because of that, it ends up feeling like the least creative one in the room. Even ignoring that, it's still not particularly impressive. It's citrusy, minty, aquatic scent that dries down into something slightly woody and incense-like. It does its job well, and that's it. Nothing to hate, nothing to applaud. It's not a bad fragrance, far from it. But there are tons of others in the same category, in my opinion, that have way more personality. At this point, Bleu de Chanel just feels like the safe, boring option. And it made me think, this guy is mostly right. But I feel like a lot of you guys out there make decisions in your fragrance wearing that reflects your own views and not public perception. That is, people that encounter you wearing a fragrance. What made Bleu de Chanel so special wasn't its personality. It was its freshness. It was the epitome of freshness. And it wasn't a fragrance that was a character piece for you, meaning it sits in front of you and you are just kind of, the fragrance is wearing you. It's you are wearing the fragrance, and the fragrance becomes a part of you. It becomes a part of your ensemble. That is classy, freshness, and refinement. And it maintains that. Now, where does Bleu de Chanel Eau de Toilette fall into this conversation? I feel in 2025 that in a world that is mostly gravitating towards the eau de parfum and the parfum, seemingly in my experience, older gentlemen 30 plus preferring the parfum, or younger fragrance enthusiasts, the general public preferring the EDP, and the grown older men 35 plus preferring the exclusive, along with a few select, nerdy fragrance hobbyists preferring the new exclusive. This would be an incredible time to almost appear original in making the decision to rock the EDT. Why? Because the profile is different. Again, more of a water droplet. In the opening, I get this crazy burst of like a water droplet wetness, almost the dampness that you feel as if you were taking a shower in Alaska and your house isn't quite hot in the morning. Maybe you didn't turn the air on all the way, so your house is fairly cold. So when you start that shower, there is a briskness in the air that when you get out, your body is damp and it's somewhat chilled by the windy, cold breeze of the house. And so it's got this very kind of Alaskan cold water freshness where that becomes the star of the show instead of the citrus and aromatics. And it just takes on this freshwater, damp air crispness, which this guy calls mint. Call it what you will. It just wears like such a part of you, like a glorified skin scent with more projection than a typical skin scent and a little bit more sillage for that reason. So I feel that eau de toilette it can be special in this time because it actually will rekindle maybe a perception that you're wearing something more original and different, because while everybody else is wearing this juicy, abundant, projectively blue and citric aromatic experience, you're wearing something a lot more softer and minty and cool airness. And maybe the perception might be, well, this is just a really good shower gel or something like that. But I think that smooth criminal kind of approach to this scent profile might actually make you not feel generic or played out or boring, and will just give you a bravado of freshness that is new and refreshing because it's slightly going against the grain. You get to still rock an extremely popular fragrance that does extremely well with the opposite sex even today. But even amongst people who are nerds and connoisseurs and have preferences, you will still stand out because no one is wearing this version. So just something to consider. I really slept on this. I have the eau de parfum in full bottle somewhere around here. Here we go. So I have the eau de parfum. I think, at one point I would say it was the best. I still think that to some extent. But I have samples in the exclusive and parfum, which are both great renditions. You guys have seen my opinion on all of them. But as I was smelling this eau de toilette, I thought to myself, wow, this feels refreshingly different because of the tonality of it. Much more lighter, brisk, crisp, airy, minty, and less abundantly bursting with this kind of citrus, forest green aromatic kind of backdrop, or even just the blue backdrop. It feels much less blue and more of a pure cold water air approach this cold water damp freshness, again, as if you were to just get out of the shower and dry yourself off. You know that your body is still kind of perspirating at that time, and in a cold cabin type of feel, this cold dew kind of exudes off of you in the freshest way possible. So I think this is a great time for you guys to reinvest in something like this, and I'm even going to be rocking this to kind of enjoy it. Now, again, it's fall winter right now. Would that be the best to wear? Yes, because I do think Bleu de Chanel is any season, any reason. You might have to gob on the sprays to compete, or maybe, 6 sprays in the morning, 6 sprays in the afternoon type of scenario. But I think that a lot of you guys, if you go back into this, it'll actually feel like something new and refreshing because you're so used to a different style of this coming out. Now, again, is it the best of the best? I think top 5 dead or alive for sure in the designer market for blues, for sure. And even when I cruise over to Niche Avenue, for me, the standouts, such as your Silver Mountain Waters, your Blue Talismans, your Casamarati Mephisto and Gentili Uomos, and stuff like that. Yes, they are better. They do have more personality, and they have all the textural components that these generic blues have, but this is a lot more accessible. And in today's world, it's probably going to be the cheapest yet most refined blue that you're going to find. And it has the most niche feeling scents in the designer world. Yes, you have your Aqua Essentia and your Aqua Essentia blues, and your Mont Blanc Legend blues, and your Dylan blues, and your Dolce & Gabbana light blues and stuff like that. But I still think this actually reigns supreme, even the Eau de Toilette. So something to consider. Definitely get your nose on Bleu de Chanel, the Eau de Toilette, and let me know your thoughts on this. But I think spinning the block on this might actually make you stand out above the rest, because this is a little bit more effortlessly fresh, less citric, more airy and aquatic in the non-blue realm, but more just watery note realm. And for that reason, I think you'll stand out better. Or just stand out well still. So don't sleep on this at all. Get your nose on the Eau de Toilette and let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Again, this is SB. Hope you guys have a blessed rest of your week. And until next time, peace.